Okay, so my name is Aaron Jackson. I'm the Michigan Good Food Fund Director. And this morning, we wanted to take some time to talk about our Seed Awards. It was an initiative that started in 2023, and we'll talk a little bit about the reasons why. But one of the things that we wanted to do, we wanted to acknowledge all the different entrepreneurs that apply for the Seed Award. And we're committed to doing our part, but we also realize that because there's such a great need, not every applicant will win every time. So we wanted to talk about some of the through lines that we saw for applications that made them successful to be awardees, but also give some feedback to support businesses to be successful in future applications. The first thing I wanted to do is give a little bit of an introduction. Again, I said, my name is Aaron Jackson, Michigan Good Food Fund Director. I also wanted to make sure I acknowledged some of our great team. There were a few more people that aren't here, but to be specific, individuals that are on the call right now, we have Aaron Ely, who is our business resource navigator. We have Gail Turner, who is our evaluation and impact manager, and we also have RJ, who is one of the investment managers. One is the key word because I wanted to make sure I gave a shout out also to Shakir Braylock, who's tending to some other program activities right now. So again, we're here to talk about the Seed Awards, provide feedback, give you all an opportunity to understand our process for selecting the Seed Awards, but also give you all some more insight in hopes to prepare you for future opportunities and future rounds. So before I jump into how the Seed Awards came to be, I wanted to give a little bit of background about the Michigan Good Food Fund. The Michigan Good Food Fund started in 2015. We are a $30 million public and private loan fund that consists of 12 different financial institutions. And the logic behind that is we look for unique ways to create more access to capital to food and farm entrepreneurs by sharing the risk across different lenders. When entrepreneurs like yourself apply for financing or technical assistance through the Michigan Good Food Fund, we focus heavily on aligning your business plan as well as your financing needs with specific lenders in our network. And we also provide loans, grants, and credit enhancements to do two things: make the borrower more attractive to the lender, and the other thing is help de-risk the deal for our lenders. So that just gives a little bit of background of who we are, what we do. I also want to make sure that I acknowledge that our principles, our performance targets, and our program activities are guided by the advisement of our 21-person stakeholder board across the state of Michigan. And those individuals are a compilation of entrepreneurs, business owners, nonprofit executives, community members that all have deep roots in the state of Michigan and really help us focus on ensuring that we're supporting entrepreneurs, but also supporting the entrepreneurs that have the biggest need. So some things about the Seed Awards and how they came to be. They started in 2023 because we got a lot of feedback from business owners that simply said, look, you all are doing some great work, but not everybody is interested in, or not everybody needs loans. Depending on the stage of the business and the business model, the spot on the value chain, business owners could benefit from grants. So that's how the Seed Awards came to be. It's a simple play on words because we work in the food space, and we began generating resources that we could provide to business owners as grants on top of the loans and the technical assistance that we provide on a regular everyday basis. Some of the good news is because we got a lot of feedback and we had much more than we expected in terms of the amount of applicants. The first round of Seed Awards, the applications got got close to 400 total. And because we had a certain amount of resources, the probability of someone winning was between 3 to 4%. Good news is we were able to provide some more resources this round, and the probability of someone winning the actual Seed Awards was between 14 to 15%. The better news is continue to get a lot of feedback. Some of it was great, but also we realized just how much the need was. We're going to have 2 rounds of Seed Awards this year instead of 1. So we're going to be providing a round of Seed Awards in April of 2025 in the spring, and then we will be providing a round in the fall in September of 2025. So we'll continue to adjust and be flexible, and also figure out how we can continue to do our part here at Michigan Good Food Fund. So what makes a strong application? Are some things I wanted to talk to you all about. For one, is it in alignment with the Michigan Good Food Fund goals? We are guided by our stakeholder board that prioritizes creating a circular food economy in the state of Michigan. Our stakeholder board also has specific goals around ensuring that we support the whole value chain across the state of Michigan. We also have a priority and focus on racial and social equity. So making sure there's a balance around the owner demographics and equity goals when we're supporting businesses, as well as the stage of the business development, and also community impact of the business. One of the common terms, which is a great term, is entrepreneurs focusing on creating generational wealth. But one of the things that we also focus heavily on is the opportunity to create community wealth inside the different communities around the state of Michigan. So how is the business not only allowing that singular or multiple owners to become successful, but how are they also creating wealth inside their community? And the last thing is also the feasibility of the project. So we'll talk in detail about some of the through lines when we were reviewing the feasibility of the projects. One of our investment managers, RJ, is going to talk specifically about some of the things that made the difference between successful applications and also sometimes applications that were right on the border. So we'll get into some of those specifics just to give you all some time to prepare for future applications, and more specifically this year in April and September of 2025. The last thing I wanted to make sure I mentioned before I handed this off to my colleague RJ is the selection process is focused on our stakeholder board. So this we intentionally leverage our stakeholder board, which is a 21-member stakeholder board that is intentionally has a vast range of experience. Our community members, entrepreneurs, business service providers. We also focus heavily on diversity from demographics, genders, the different ways people identify, because we want to make sure those voices are represented in every space of our work, starting from our team, our goals, as well as our board that guides our work. And our board was heavily influenced in creating the Seed Awards, and they are also the reviewers and selection committee for actually selecting the awardees. So the next thing I am going to do is hand this off to my colleague RJ, and he's going to talk more specifically about what we evaluate inside the applications beyond alignment with Michigan Good Food Fund's mission fit and some of the other things I just previously mentioned.
Thanks, Aaron. Hi, everybody. Thanks for taking the time. So I'm going to run through a few things here in the feasibility analysis that we conducted, which is basically an assessment of the practicality of the proposed use of funds in the application. And the practicality is based on how likely the proposal will succeed or be effective, based on things like the business model, the description of the plan, the status of the business, the amount that's been requested, and the specificity of those use of funds and how that amount is going to help you catalyze your business. So in that initial feasibility study analysis, the through lines that we saw were the clarity and the detail in the use of funds. So many applications lacked some detail, didn't have itemized budgets on how these funds would be utilized. Specificity such as vendor names that will receive these funds afterwards, the costs, the timelines, were often missing. And those are things that that level of detail is really important. So I would like to just stress the importance of providing a clear and detailed use of funds that will demonstrate the impact and the feasibility of those funds on your business. The second would be your business model definition. Some were a bit vague or unclear in how the business models would actually generate income or create financial stability over the long term. So I'd encourage everybody to take the time to really clearly articulate your business model. There can't be too much detail there, and include information like what your revenue streams are, how you plan to scale those revenue streams to create profitability, and that will really strengthen future applications. Also the impact on the local food system as well as the community that Aaron mentioned. A lot of successful applications highlighted really measurable impacts that the business would have on the local community, such as improving access to healthy foods, supporting underserved populations, or enhancing the local food supply chain. So again, encouragement here for applicants in the future is to really think about how you can articulate your community impact and your systemic impact that your business would have on the community tangibly. And things like metrics, numbers on how you plan to impact are very important, or things like testimonials from your community could be very helpful in future applications. Finally, your strength of track record and growth potential. So applications with a strong track record of operating a business and can demonstrate growth over time were viewed favorably. So in the future, try to include data of your historical performance, such as revenue or customer expansion, and try to articulate how you can scale that further in the future, supported by specific strategies with specific goals. So that was really, the initial feasibility analysis, and then that analysis moved on to a final review, where this is where the stakeholder board was in control and took the time to go through the themes of these businesses and award the funds based on the business's likelihood to catalyze growth or impact the community. So mission fit and mission alignment were key. Many businesses that were evaluated were really evaluating how closely the mission aligned with the award's purpose. So in the future, I would emphasize the importance of demonstrating very clear alignment between the business's mission and the goal of these funds. So examples I would include ensuring that your work directly impacts the local food system, or how it directly supports an underserved community. Then the use of funds, obviously very important here. So I mentioned earlier, the more specificity and clarity in how you'll use those funds, the better. Businesses with the detailed use of funds stood out to everybody because it was very clear on how these funds would catalyze growth. So in the future, focus on providing a well-defined and itemized budget, and provide a clear narrative on how those funds will result in growth and impact. Then the scalability and growth potential of the business. So businesses demonstrating strong growth trajectories and scalability had an advantage here. Things like knowing your growth rates over time, showing how you prove your business model, or how your business model that you're using has been proved in other areas, and any potential for regional or national impact that you could have in the future is very beneficial. So I encourage you to take the time and really think about how you can provide evidence of your ability or capacity to not only sustain your operations, but to grow over time. And then finally, as you can probably imagine, application completeness and the detail of the application overall will be a big strength in the future. So applications that had a strong track record of operations and detailed growth, obviously viewed favorably, but not having a complete application, it's really hard to advance with such a competitive pool. So lack of detail in critical areas such as the detail of your business model, how you impact the community, it really reduced the competitiveness. In the future, focus on submitting a comprehensive application, well thought out business plan with supporting documentation like financials or even community support letters could be a key to differentiating yourself in the future and having a chance to be awarded some of the funds. Hope that was helpful, and I'll turn that back over to Aaron.
Thank you, RJ. We just like we've heard some of the feedback initially that created these Seed Awards, we also heard that there was some requests on feedback about the actual applications, the process of reviewing the applications, who's responsible for it, our stakeholder board, and some of the things that we noticed that helped people because it was so competitive, where it ranged from 3% the first round to about 15% chance of winning this next round. I realized that a few people came in after we started, so one of the things I did want to mention and say out loud that this is recorded. So this will be something that will be made accessible to entrepreneurs and the public. So if you missed some of it, don't worry, we're going to make sure you have access to this information in the future. The other thing I want to make sure I emphasize is we heard the feedback and the need and saw just how many applications we got. So we're going to be doing 2 rounds of Seed Awards this year. The first round is going to be in April 2025. The second round is going to be in September 2025. With that being said, I want to thank you all for your time. You can always reach us through our website, which is migoodfoodfund.org, where you can sign up for our newsletters. Feel free to follow us on our social media channels, whether that be Facebook, Instagram, as well as LinkedIn. And be sure to tune in and hear about some of the other programs that we're going to be having outside of our Seed Awards. Thank you all for your time. Try to be people of our word. We promise this would not exceed 10:30. So I'm giving you an extra 10 minutes back, and I look forward to seeing you in the community. Have a great week and Happy New Year.